So we are discussing from chapter 9 last time, right? So we covered all the offenses to the holy name. That's where we covered. And today we are dealing with chapter 10. But there was something that was left out.
Yes.
What was it? Can anyone remind me what we have not discussed?
We stopped with the circumambulating the temple of Vishnu.
Circumambulating the temple of Vishnu. I can't relate to what you are saying.
Further consideration.
Smelling the incense, touching the deity. We read all that or no? Where did we stop? Reciting notable prayers, Vandanam. No, we discussed. Vandanam. Drinking Charanamrit.
Bro, you have to start from reciting.
Japa.
Reciting notable prayers, bro.
Which one?
Last my prayers, you just
Yeah, reciting notable prayers.
submission. You started submission.
Yeah.
Submission and you
Started
just
submission and you went half the way.
Submission was the
Submission we stopped on talking about when you had given the class.
Okay, let's go by sequence. Did we do blasphemy of devotees? We covered.
Yes.
Tilak and Tulsi
Yes.
we covered. Accepting flower garlands we
Yes.
covered. Dancing before the deity
Yes.
we covered. Bowing down in honor of the deity
Yes.
we covered. Standing up to receive the Lord we covered. Roma Harshana example also we saw. Following the deity,
Yes.
going to the temple of Vishnu or to the place of pilgrimage. Yes. Archana.
Yes.
Yes. Rendering service to the Lord.
Yes.
Singing.
Yes.
Sankirtan.
Yes.
Japa.
Yes.
Submission.
Submission.
Submission we did. Lalasa Mai, we saw that.
You can recap from there, bro.
Okay. Okay, so we'll start from submission and go forward. So we are discussing from chapter 9 of Nectar of Devotion, which is called as further considerations of devotional principles. So what can we remember about submission? Anyone can remember any points? Actually we discussed, in this whole context, we had asked everyone to, if possible, try and remember that key memory verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. How many of you remember? I know one person knows this, Damu Prabhu, he has done that. He recited to me the other day. Okay. Anyone else who could by heart? Janeshwar Prabhu, you know it. You also know it. Because we did it for Bhagavatam. It's not required for the course, but it's very nice to remember that in the context of these things. What was the verse? Savai Mana Krishna Vadaravindayor, which means what? Engaging how did Ambarish Maharaj worship Lord Vishnu? Savai Mana Krishna Padaravindayor, which means what did he do? Meditating his mind on the lotus feet of the Lord. Second is what? Vachamsi Vaikuntha Guna Arnu Varnane, which is what? Glorifying the Lord by one's own words, using one's words always in glorifying the Lord. The third was what? Karau Hare Mandira Marjanadishu. So what was that? Using the hands in cleaning the temple of the Lord. So that's what the hands are meant for. And then what is the final one? Shrutim cha akara achyuta sat kathodaye. Which means what? Always using the ears to hear topics of the Lord or to hear instructions which are given by the Lord. In short, hearing Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is the purpose. This is what Ambarish Maharaj did. What else did he do after that? Mukunda Lingalaya Darshane Drishav. Which means what? He used his eyes in taking darshan of the linga of the Lord, the deity forms of the Lord. Mukunda Lingalaya Darshane Drishav. Not only the deity forms of the Lord, in also seeing the temples of the Lord, visiting the holy places of pilgrimage and seeing the holy places of pilgrimage with his eyes. Seeing Radha Kund, for example, with one's own eyes. So he did that. Mukunda Lingalaya Darshane Drisho. What is the next item? Tad Britya Gatra Tad Britya Gatra Sparshe Anga Sangamam, which means he used his hands in touching the bodies of the devotees of the Lord. Okay? Sparshe Anga Sangamam. Then what else did he do? Granam cha tat pada saroja saurabhe, which means he used his sense of and then Srimad Tulasya Rasanam Tad Arpite, which means he used his sense of smelling in smelling the flowers which are he used his nose in smelling the flowers which are offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, as well as Tulsi. And then he also used his tongue to honor Prashadam, which has been offered to the deities. So that is how he is using each and every sense, limb of the body in devotional service. Not only that, then the last set of verses demonstrate his mood, activity as well as mood in which he did that. So what was the last set of verses? Padav Hare Kshetra Pada Anusarpane. Right? Which means what? He used his feet in visiting the holy dhams. Right? And then Shiro Rishikesha Padhavi Vandane, which means he used his Shiro means head, to always bow down in front of the Lord. Shiro Rishikesha Padhavi Vandane. And then what is the third last? Kamam cha dasye natu kama kamyaya. Which means what? He did all this without a desire for personal sense enjoyment, and he did these activities 24 hours a day. Okay? We cannot do devotional service 24 hours a day if we want to have some free time for our sense enjoyment. Okay? When we don't want anything to do with the material energy, then automatically we will invest all our time in dealing with the spiritual energy. Why are we not able to do that today? Because of our attraction to the material energy. So that's why we are not able to devote full time. That's why we need a break from Krishna consciousness also during the day. Enough of chanting, reading and hearing. Let me do something else for my personal entertainment. That is how the mind thinks. Whereas Ambarish Maharaj's consciousness was not like that. And always his mood was what? Servant of servant. Mood was servant of servant. Kamam cha dasye natu kama. The mood was one of servitorship. And then what does Prabhupada says? Sorry, not Prabhupada says in one sense. What is the last verse? Which Shukadeva Goswami says? Yatha uttama shloka jana ashraya ratihi. Which means what? This is the way, if you do all these activities, this is the way for attaining what? Rati. For attaining taste for Lord Krishna. This is the way by which one develops taste for bhakti, and when one develops taste for bhakti, automatically what happens? The taste for material enjoyment goes away. The taste for material enjoyment will not go away if this taste is not going up. So we all have to always measure, is it really going up? If we artificially try to push this down, it is not going to happen. It will only happen this way. There is no other way it is going to happen. Okay, so today if it is this way, and if it is going like this, then automatically you will find this is going down and this will go up. The moment you take this up, automatically it will come like this. So both are related. So this is the way in which one can develop taste for Krishna consciousness as well as simultaneously develop material detachment. So Ambarish Maharaj was already doing that, which Rupa Goswami has now in Nectar of Devotion. He has elaborated that, dissected that into various components. And we were doing so many aspects we saw last time. We saw submission also. In submission, the key point what we saw was the types of prayers. Samprarthanatmika prayers, which is offering prayers very feelingly towards the Lord, not mechanical prayers to the Lord. Very feelingly, with bhav. Then we saw Dainya Vodika prayers, which means prayers which are in the mood of submissiveness and humility. Lord, prayers which are in the mood of demanding something from the Lord or arrogance. For example, in many movies, at least I used to see those, that hero will, with the left hand, he will ring the bell. I've discussed this in the class before. Like that, Bhagwan tu hai, tang, he will put like that. Hey ma, like that he will say. The photograph will be there like that. He is very, he is very angry with the Lord. The hero is very angry. This happens in Hindi movies. Jai Jagannath Prabhu. Okay. In fact, those movies are still better than the movies of today. At least they had something to do with God consciousness, right? But then the hero is demanding. Tu hai to, kya ho raha hai? What is happening in your? If you are there, then why this misery is there? Now you have to come. He is demanding. The hero is demanding. The hero in the whole movie has never chanted. But when it comes to wanting something, the hero is the angry young man. He is demanding from the Lord. That is not called as, that is not the way of prayers. Prayers means what? Dainya Vodika. Oh Lord, if you so desire, please help mitigate this misery. Not demanding. If you exist, then so the Lord is not there to prove a point of his existence, because some bloke demands it. So that prayer was almost like that. So this is opposite of that. Dainya Vodika. Humbly submitting oneself. And to humbly submit oneself, then one should always think about where one is. We have to spend a lot of time. Even yesterday, Jagatarani Mataji was saying, we have to learn how to talk to our mind. Anyone heard her class? Bhagavatam class? She was mentioning that. Okay, so we have to learn how to talk to our mind. As we progress in Krishna consciousness more and more, as years pass by, then we have to learn how to talk to our mind. Otherwise, we will always think that the world is wrong and I am right. Always we will think like that. Our fault-finding tendency will never go away if we do not learn how to talk to our own mind, and if we do not understand the origination of our thoughts in our mind. We have to understand where our thoughts originate from. So we have to study every thought. Why am I feeling like this towards this devotee? Is it purely spiritual ecstasies? For example, if I am finding faults with a devotee, why am I finding faults with this devotee? Is it because I really have a strong desire to serve Prabhupada and Krishna consciousness so much that this devotee is really coming in the way of my ecstasies in service? Hands up if that is the reason for not getting along with somebody. Can we be honest to ourselves? That's the question. So really we have to go deep inside ourselves. If we don't understand our own mind, we will not be able to progress at all. Right? So we have to have conversations with the mind, because the mind is a real rascal. It will trick us, saying that you are the best. You cannot go wrong. There is too much politics in the temple. That is what mind will tell you. But mind will never tell you that you are also one of those who is creating that. It will never tell, no? Oh, too much politics in the temple, we will say. I am tired, of politics only. Therefore, are you very clean then? You never have spoken anything about anybody. You never have any ill feelings towards any devotee in your heart. 100% can you say that? You will give your life for any devotee in the congregation. Are we like that? No, we are not like that. Okay. So then we should not complain about too much politics is there. We are also part of it. Somebody at the same time as we are saying it, somebody also is telling. Right? There is too much politics in the temple. Correct, no? So therefore we have to learn to talk to our own mind, because at the end of the day we are going to go to Godhead all alone. At the time of death, that is the time of examination. Just like I was telling the students, when you are going for the exam paper, you are all alone. It's the decisions which you make, it's the choices which you make. The teacher can teach you how to do things. The teacher can bring you up to a particular level. But at the end of the day, in the exam, you have to make choices and tick the right answers on your own. You have to make those decisions. Nobody can write your exam for yourself. Teacher cannot write. Mother cannot write. Father cannot write. Student has to write. Right? And student will get results. Student will either get benefit out of that, or student will fail as a result of wrong choices made. Right? So we have to analyze our Krishna conscious life also like that. It's the choices which we make based upon those conversations which we have with our mind. So, Dainya Bodhika, humbly submitting oneself.
You mentioned politics and temples quite a lot, but I never understood what sort of politics were. What sort of politics that was, I never understood.
Somebody will say that, somebody will say that somebody is being favored for something. Somebody was asked to do Prabhupada Arti. Why I was not asked. Anything it can be. I mean, I'm just giving an example. There are so many things. People get hurt for umpteen reasons, isn't it? For so many things. Why was I not served, on that day? I also asked for extra khichdi. They told me, no, not extra khichdi. Usually people, extra halwa, for example, or rasgulla. One more puri I asked. What is wrong? That Prabhu said, no, Prabhu. Why it is like that? It's all politics. But then when someone smiled at him, and talked in Tamil, or puri kadekama, then to him he gave one puri. I just said, what is this? Tamil is going on. So many things. There is no end to it. I mean, there are so many. In 10 years we have seen permutations and combinations, and we have also been party to that. It's not that, we are a Paramahamsa observer who are neutrally observing all the politics. We are also in it. I am also in it.
These are personal issues, it's politics.
Correct?
It's personal dealings or personal issues rather than...
See, when our mind, that's what I'm saying, when our mind gives certification to ourselves that we are right, then we will see everything, then we will see any problems outside of ourselves only. We will think that everything else is going on and I am a nice poor fellow trying to do my Krishna consciousness nicely. I come to the temple just for darshan and all this going on. This is how people will talk. Correct? Because you are thinking that, we are thinking that, we are some very nice reference point of perfection and everything around us is so imperfect, that somehow I am trying to survive Prabhu amidst all this environment, whatever. Which means we have already decided that we are some. So Dainyavadika prayers, we can only become humble when we really understand our own selves, our own anarthas. We have to go deep inside and find out what the hell am I first of all. Otherwise, how can we become humble if we don't understand our own mind and why it's coming? So that's why analyzing each and every thought which comes into our mind is a good idea. I'm not saying that we should not do that all the time and not do anything else. But this is important. It's important to, especially in such situations, we have to analyze. I wish I could tell some examples of this, but I can't tell if required.
There's one group and there's other group, and then between them there's some tension happening and whatever. But then what we discuss is just on a personal level, which can be a personal issue rather than a political issue.
Correct. Politics is created by people only, na?
Yeah.
Politics doesn't come because of deities or anything. It is created by within the congregation only. Deities are just sitting there. That's all. Lord is observing everything. It is people who fight. People who have issues with each other.
Politics is basically like, if you take your own personal desire in trouble, it's correct, like politics to my mind, it's like basically if someone actually tries to put his own desire first rather than the congregational thing.
Perfect. It could be as simple as why was I not in the singing roster? Why I am not getting the 9 p.m. prime slot for doing kirtan in the temple? It could happen. You think it cannot happen? It can happen. Somebody can say, why did I not get prime slot? Somebody can fight that I want to do Aarti only on holidays. Why are you giving me Aarti at 12 o'clock on Tuesday when nobody is in the temple? Hang on. Who are you doing Aarti for? Correct? But people like Sunday evening, best prime slot. And then everyone is looking. Throw flowers to everyone. So the mood is not at all serving the Lord. The mood is that, hang on guys, I'm there. The mercy is coming. But you know what? I give it. No. This is the mood. Okay, then there is nothing. There is no dainya, there is no dainya bodhika. Nothing is there here. It is more like me. How can I come in the center and be observed at prime slots? Okay. So then that thought, if it comes, then only that person knows. Only that person knows 100% why that person is making certain choices in devotional service. Does it make sense? I am not saying in prime slot one should not do service. But our mind is very tricky. It likes certain things. It likes some appreciation, respect. It likes that the congregation is generally respecting us. Like that. But then, what did Bhaktivedanta Saraswati said? The desire for respect is like the stool of a hog, he said. We are not progressing then. We will not progress. We can become well-respected devotees in the congregation. But what do we actually want? We want to get out of the cycle of birth, disease, old age and death. And we want to achieve love of Godhead. So therefore then we have to really, really introspect, because many times after many years in Krishna consciousness, things become very cloudy. We're just moving along. And we like to generally have nice acceptance in the congregation, be well respected, be well established devotees. So many adjectives are there. This. But at the end of the day, it is the simplicity that is going to see us through the last stages of life, when we will not be able to do anything. We discussed last time the importance of this. Therefore, this in sense of smaranam, we can do all kinds of services as long as the hands and legs cooperate. But when the hands and legs stop cooperating, then the only service that is going to see us through at the time of death is our smaranam. And how can we have clear smaranam if our whole life has been entangled mired in all these issues. So at some point in time we have to really extricate ourselves from all these things and then focus like that. Again, for me also, I am thinking all these things, therefore I am telling you. I am not a teacher who is supposed to speak all these things. I am nowhere near these standards, but I am thinking these things nowadays. I am thinking, where am I going? Like that. What do I want in Krishna consciousness? Prestige? Prestige we will get, Krishna will give. If you want prestige, you will take. Love? Prestige you want, take in Krishna consciousness. Given. Moment you become preacher, what comes first? Prestige. It will come. People will say, Prabhu, aapke wajah se devotee bana. Prabhu ji, dandavat. Like that. Then what we will do? We will start spending more time with juniors, because they are always paying dandavats to us. We will stop spending time with seniors, because wahan pe danda milta hai. Right? And then when seniors tell us something, then we will wonder, hum log ko to koi manta hi nahi hai. Like that. Because why? Because you are used to now, you are associating so much with your juniors that you are used to glorifying. So now you have lost the ability to take any instructions or anything, any chastisement at all of any sort. That's a dangerous position to be. Like that. So you have to be very careful. So take a step back always. Just come out of the whole thing and look at yourself. Okay, where are you, man? Okay, you started here in Krishna consciousness. You have come till here. But where do you want to go now? And what do you need to do to get there?
Sometimes you can introspect, but when you are introspecting and when you are analyzing that, what could be, is it because of something that I'm expecting, profit, iteration, or whatever it may be, but then your mind gives you reasons, and you are not able to break through that reasons to accept that it is my fault. How do we get from that stage to accepting the fault?
Yeah, two things you have to do. One is consult senior devotees, okay? But when we consult, we have to be honest. For example, there are some patients who will go to the doctor because the wife has forced. But when they go to the doctor, they will say, I don't have any problem, I'm okay. Everything. But what can the doctor do? So you have to tell the doctor, you have to open, if required, if the boil is in a very improper place, then you have to tell the doctor it's itching at an improper place. You have to allow that embarrassment to happen and tell the problem to the doctor. Then the doctor will say, okay, I know this medicine you take. But if you tell him everything clean, look, first class, see my suit, jacket, everything pakka. Inside what is going on? Who knows? So we have to then, the guhyam akhyati pritchati. That is, we have to have confidential discussions. We have to have someone who we trust and open out our mind. So if we are like kind of having a trouble with our own mind and we don't know what to do, consult someone who you trust, who you believe will give you a loving instruction rather than judging you. This person came and told this problem because he had full confidence that yes, this person loves me and he will not judge me or look down upon me tomorrow when you come to the temple. Oh, acha, oh devotee, acha, tu aaya kya? Okay. Not like that. If he ever thought that somebody will do that, why will he? And if we do that, who is going to get upset with us? Lord is going to get upset with us, not with him. Lord actually will give him full marks actually. How pleased the Lord will be with this person. Of course, he's got a problem, but who doesn't have problems? But how glorious that he came out with that problem and discussed that. And how sad it will be if we judge that person instead of helping that person out of love and compassion. So that is how it works. So, but then obviously there are two sides to it. So if we are the patient, we have to be open with the doctor, and if we are the doctor, we have to be compassionate on the patient, not judgmental on the patient. So both ways it works like that. So if we have trouble, we don't know what to do, whether our mind is right or our soul is right. Paramatma is telling something, mind is telling something, and we don't want to listen to Paramatma. We want to listen to the mind because that makes us have a better day. Live with our own consciousness. So then best is to seek guidance. But best is to study Bhagavatam. Best is to study Bhagavatam. Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam Bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhavati bhakti nishti. So there is no doubt about that. If we are not studying, many times, again devotees make this mistake. Devotees do not study Bhagavatam. We are saying, oh, Bhagavad Gita, okay, Bhagavad Gita over. Okay. We have to study Bhagavatam consistently every day. Study of Bhagavatam will immediately put us in the transcendental mode of goodness. Okay. I'll tell you, last week I had a lot of trouble on one day. I was just getting vexed and frustrated. And then I did not know what to do. There was some problem. I just went and said, anywhere I'll open it. Start Bhagavatam reading. Immediately it brings you. I don't know how many of you have had that experience. When Jabi pata hua hai life mein, then it just puts you up. Like that. So Bhagavatam must be studied. There is no substitute. There is nobody who can be a devotee or a preacher or anything without studying Bhagavatam. It is not possible. I understand Bhagavad Gita is very glorious, no doubt about it. Great scripture, Lord Krishna himself spoke. But Bhagavatam has that power. In one sense I can, that Bhagavad Gita will not alone have. Bhagavatam has that power. Bhagavatam is, that's why it is, Bhagavatam is glorified so much. Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu. So if we are not studying Srimad Bhagavatam, we will not be able to elevate our consciousness at all. There is no other way, unfortunately. Neither will our chanting be good. Right? It is not only important to hear the holy name. It is important, no doubt, but that is only the first stage, to hear the what we are chanting. But it is important to chant feelingly. And that feelings, when will it come? Only when we are studying Srimad Bhagavatam. Otherwise, it will not come. It will not come. We have to study Srimad Bhagavatam. Best is to study Srimad Bhagavatam under a teacher. There are many devotees who try to study Srimad Bhagavatam on their own. It will not work. It will not work. It will work. Definitely there will be some benefits. But Bhagavatam has to be studied under the guidance of a senior devotee. I'll tell you personally, again I am repeating in the class. Keshav Prabhu has not asked me to advertise his classes. But I can tell you, whenever I have studied under him, I have benefited. And the time that I have not studied, I thought that I can do it on my own. I have got one. No, you can't do it on your own. You can't do it on your own. It's true. You can't. You have to study. Even if sometimes you may think that it is repetitive, but it still works on your consciousness gradually. Like that. Especially even when we do our study groups, Bhagavatam study groups, there's a different mood, right? We all just feel as if we are in the spiritual world, transported for some time. And what a feeling that is. And then when you stop doing that, again we come back to our mundane platform and jhagda. Again the Maya Jhapatya, what is that? Nistare, what is that verse? Maya Jhapatya Dare. Which verse is that? Krishna Boli Jiva Bhoga Vancha Kare. Then? Krishna Bahir Mukha.
Nikatastha Mayataram.
Nikatastha Maya Jhapatya Dhare. So therefore, when we turn our faces away from Srimad Bhagavatam, then Maya is standing on the opposite side. Immediately jhapatiya dhare. Immediately grab us. Like that. So constant study of Bhagavatam is required. Constant study. Study is not reading. Bhishma, I know he took that arrow here. Okay, Krishna. Okay. Prabhu, oh, finished. Bhagavatam over. You know. Many people say, one person actually told me this. Bhagavad Gita, ho gaya Prabhu. Bhagavatam, ho gaya. Finished. Cover to cover. Finished. This is not some, specialist mathematics. Cover to cover you finished and, it's not like that. Or some, correct? So this is something which has to be, you read, you meditate, how do I apply in life? Think about your own mind. Okay, what did he do? Can I do this? How do I implement? That's how. Cup, fate, Mars, we should remember. Knowledge, understanding, personal application, preaching application, mood and mission of Prabhupada. So we have to really study like that. Then we will be able to absorb Srimad Bhagavatam. Many years back I was asked by one person who guides me. He said, when I went to Bombay, he asked me, have you taken shelter of Prabhupada's books? I said, yeah, I am reading Prabhupada's books. He said, no, I didn't ask you whether you are reading. I said, yeah, I am studying. He said, no, I am not even asking whether you are studying. Have you taken shelter of Prabhupada's books? Which means what? Which means if you have an issue, are you consulting what Prabhupada said in the scriptures? Are you taking all the issues of your life, taking all whatever scriptures is saying, and taking shelter of that? Which means your issues are now going to be solved. That is what is taking shelter, no? It's not about reading, studying, writing, exam. No. Are you taking shelter of Srila Prabhupada's books? So that he taught me at that time. Take shelter of Prabhupada's books. Of course, I know it theoretically. Whether I do it or not is up to me. That nobody can force. Lord Krishna also couldn't force Arjuna. He said, I have told you whatever I have to tell you. Now it's up to you. Are we taking shelter of those books? Like that. For example, if Prabhupada says, live simple life. If I have taken shelter of that, what should I do? Can I live some other life? And say that, no, book to bolta hi rahega na. Oh, to Prabhu, Paramahamsa scripture, Prabhu. It will tell only, live simple. Doesn't mean I have to live simple. That means I have not taken shelter of that. I have taken now shelter of my mind's demands and trying to fulfill it in this material world. Knowing very well that this material world will only frustrate.
There can be so many issues like fault finding, anger, pride. How do you take shelter in that case? How do you find out that particular explanation by Prabhupada in the books? How do you search for it? Let's say fault finding is a problem at some stage, then how do you go about to find that particular thing in the books?
If you are studying, that's why I decide Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, not finding Bhagavatam.
What do you say?
Please, hang on. I understood your question. If we are systematically studying Srimad Bhagavatam, only then we will be able to find something in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Does it make sense? Bhagavatam is not like a dictionary. What is the meaning of bucolic? Okay, let me open B. Okay. Samajh gaya. It will not work like that. It is almost like if you want to become good at the English language, such that vocabulary is at your beck and call. Whenever you want to use a word, it just comes out of your tongue at the appropriate context. Then you should have studied that and used that throughout. Then it will come. Does it make sense? So, if issues and problems are coming in the life and we want to solve it, if we have been studying throughout, taking shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam, then automatically we will sail through that. It's not that issue has come, now let me go to the Bhagavatam and see which section will give answers. It's not like Prashna Uttar, You can go and see a specific problem and then, type, for example, like type Google, where all in Bhagavatam the word fault finding comes. That is a good approach when we are preparing for giving a Bhagavatam class. When we do have only 2 hours and the next theme is, fault finding, for example. Then you Google fault finding, who all Maharajas have given what lectures. Go to that, what is that, Prabhupada, what is that called as? VedaBase, nahi, dusra, folio. Then you type and then find out all the places where that word comes and then, what Prabhupada has spoken, what letters and conversations. That is one way of doing it, okay. But the real way of doing it is real Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Because when our consciousness is in the mode of goodness or transcendental mode of goodness, then Paramatma from inside our heart, we will be able to hear what Paramatma is telling us from within the heart better. Does it make sense? That is why it is said, what is that? Vidunoti Shinvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Ketana Hridayanti Stohi Avadarani Vidunoti Surasatam. So Hridaya ke andar se, from inside we will get that, boss, what are you doing? Like that. Paramatma will speak to you, because Paramatma will not speak to us because we have turned our head from Paramatma. So when we turn our head towards Paramatma by taking shelter of Bhagavatam, then that dialogue between Paramatma and soul will be much louder than the dialogue between mind and soul. Does it make sense? Right now, the Paramatma is talking less and mind is talking more. Cow, cow, the crow is talking right now. But the Paramatma is not talking. Like Radhanath Swami Maharaj calls it as the good dog and the bad dog in one sense. Whose voice am I listening? Not to call anything like that, but just example. So in that sense, both are within us. The Paramatma's guidance is also there. Then the conditioned mind is also speaking. By hearing the Paramatma's, by taking shelter of instructions of Bhagavatam, we will be able to hear the Paramatma's instruction more louder than the mind, and that way the mind will be subdued. That is the Ayurvedic way of dealing with the problem. The other external way of dealing with the problem, yes, that is also okay, that you find, okay, what Prabhupada said in this subject matter. For example, if lust is the problem, then see all Prabhupada's letter on lust, and then what all messages he has given. But better is to study, think. That is, so you are building. It's like just like doing that, exercise. For example, in the morning today also, when I went, and I saw my sheet when I went for that Kaiser training. When I'm doing exercise on each machine, in the first day, even 20 kg was a big problem. I was panting and fuming. Now when I see my record, maybe I have come to 80 now. But how it has happened? It has happened gradually. Now you don't realize it. Wow, I struggled at 20? But now I am doing 80. No, whatever. Or something. So it's like that. So regularly if we do, we will not even realize that we are progressing. We will be able to then, all those pains will go away slowly along the way. That's just because you are regularly doing something. Whereas a shortcut would have been that, okay, I have a pain in my knees, therefore I will take a painkiller. What all painkillers can alleviate? That's another way of doing. Or Nityam Bhagavata Seva. There's no, and in fact, this whole theme of Nectar of Devotion is about that only. In fact, today we wanted to discuss that about hearing. It's hearing, and reading. I don't know whether I answered you. Is it fine?
When you said to whoever asked you the question that you are studying, and he asked you the question that have you taken shelter, what did that mean in that way? Because you said studying is required.
Studying is required, but taking shelter means that we are the issues which are, I answered that question, the issues which come in our life, then am I using the spiritual principles to address that issue? Because many times we know Srimad Bhagavatam, but when issues come in our life, then we use our material principles to address the issue. Does it make sense? For example, if a devotee has offended me, मैं भी सीधा बोल देता हूँ उनको जाके, बॉस मेरे साथ बॉस अपने साथ नहीं चलेगा ये सब. हाँ, ये ह्यूमिलिटी तक एक till one level I'll be humble Prabhu, but after that, boss, you know who I am. I can come down to that level also. Now this, how you are dealing it? You are dealing with the material method, or you are taking shelter of Bhagavatam here in this dialogue. Jai Jagannath Prabhu, are you following me? I use little bit of Hindi, but are you following me? What I am saying? A devotee offends you, and then you are maybe you are in a much more powerful position than the devotee, or you are just the peer, so you can tell anything. So how are you responding to that situation? Are we taking shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam at that time while responding? So that is an example. So that is what is simply studying and taking shelter. Shelter means all the time, what is the right thing scripturally that I should be doing in this situation? Then we are taking shelter. Even if it is at the cost of a personal discomfort to us. Which is what Suvarna Krishna Prabhu was also asking in one sense. Prabhu, how? Because the mind is still not allowing me to do that, because then really it is causing so much personal discomfort to my brain, right now. No, how can I? But he was wrong 100%, or she was wrong 100%. That is what is taking shelter of Bhagavatam. It has to. That's Nityam Bhagavata Seva. No other way.
Prabhu, shelter will be like basically then you are not relying your own intelligence, thinking that I will be able to solve my own, as soon as you say, I am going to solve this, I, this word, that means you haven't taken the shelter. As long as then the submissiveness will automatically come when we are taking the shelter, meaning that I bow down to the acharyas, so I'm going to read this verse, whatever I'm going to read. Now I'm going to take the direction from the Srimad Bhagavatam or from this scripture, not because of my intelligence I'm going to get something out of it, but humbly. That's the mood like I was told in the Gurujan Prabhu retreat which we had on the disaster, all these problems we have in the life.
Yes.
So the shelter is basically as long as you rely on your own personal, that I am going to solve my problems, that's not taking the shelter at all. And whatever you will read out of your own ego, that I'm going to get something out of it. So you surrender, and the acharyas will automatically give you the solution.
True, Prabhu. Thank you for putting it so nicely.
Sorry, Prabhu.
No, seriously, it's good. You put it in a very nice way. You really put it in a very nice way.
But Prabhu, sometimes can it happen that we take the shelter of the wrong scripture at the wrong time? For example, is it always practical to take shelter of Bhagavatam? If I give example,
we can we can misinterpret something based on our convenience, but that means we are not taking shelter. Does it make sense?
Or do we need to take shelter of a different scripture? For example, if there is some administrative problem, then is it right to take shelter of Bhagavatam, or we need to go to, let's say, for example, Mahabharata?
So there are two types of Bhagavatam. There is a book Bhagavad, there is a person Bhagavad. So if you have an administrative problem and you want to deal with it, and we are not able to understand, ultimately the book Bhagavad tells everything. There is nothing that the book Bhagavad doesn't tell us. It's because we may not be able to correlate the book Bhagavatam to the administrative situation. Bhagavatam actually has answers to everything in this world. There is nothing that Bhagavatam doesn't answer. Okay? It is we who cannot relate to the fact that this answer is applicable in the situation. Therefore you need person Bhagavad. That's why I am saying Bhagavatam has to be studied under a Guru. Because the person Bhagavad will explain to us. Otherwise our mind will explain to us. Or we are trying to understand it by the dint of our own intelligence. This is what Prabhu was also telling just now. But we have to the acharyas we have to understand. Okay, the next one is reciting notable prayers, which is Vandanam. I think we have discussed it enough. Vandanam. So the glories of prayers, which we have discussed. Partaking of prasad. I don't think anybody will disagree with this point. So, a person who honors prasad and regularly eats it, not exactly in front of the deity, along with the charanamrit, immediately can achieve the results of pious activities which are obtained through 10,000 performances of sacrificial rites. Just by taking prasadam, we are getting so much sukriti. Drinking charanamrit. Next one. Charanamrit is obtained in the morning while the Lord is being washed before dressing. Scented with perfumes and flowers, the water comes gliding down through his lotus feet and is collected and mixed with yogurt. So we have been advised to take charanamrit also to purify our consciousness. Smelling the incense and flowers offered to the deity. Srimad Tulasya Rasanam Tadarpite. And what is the other one? Saroja Saurave. What was that? Grinamcha Tatpada Saroja Saurave. So those points again, they are all coming here. Smelling the incense. So it is mentioned that smelling the incense and flowers offered to the deity cure us of the poisonous effects of material contamination, as much as one becomes cured of a snake bite by smelling the prescribed medicinal herbs. Any devotee coming into the temple should always offer something to the deity, fruit, flower or incense. Even one morsel of rice can be offered. One should not go to see a saintly person or the deity in the temple without any offering.
So with the smelling the flowers, do we get the benefit if we don't do it with the right consciousness also? So not thinking that this flower was offered to Krishna and you just smell it, just smell it and just,
Yeah. Now, there are two ways of answering this question. Obviously, if I am smelling the flower, in the mood of gratitude, that how fortunate I am. I have the flower which has been offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, and I am now smelling it, and I am feeling Krishna in that. Then that is the best. The other is that I am doing it mechanically. Many times it happens, no? That's another way of doing it. Correct? I'll still get benefit because we have smelled the flower. The only time we will not get benefit is when we are doing an offense. When we are offensively doing that, then we may not get the benefit. Does it make sense? For example, an offense could be our mind is thinking, what's there in smelling this flower? What am I going to get? And then we will not get benefit. Because we are mundanizing that flower in our consciousness. Then we don't get benefit. Because then it's an offense. Because we can't distinguish a flower which is there in the botanical garden vis-a-vis a flower which has come from the lotus feet of the Lord. Or sometimes when you smell it, I didn't get any smell. Does it make sense to you? These are all offenses. Mentally what we think is important. Bhavagrihi. Krishna is Bhavagrihi. He will know what is going on in the mind. He will accept that.
So with that bhav, if we smell it with bhav, then we will get more benefit.
Definitely.
If we don't smell it with bhav, then we will certainly get benefit, but it may not be that much.
Just like the holy name. Same principle is there. Isn't it? Nama, Shuddha Nam, Nama Bhashan, Nama Aparadha. Just like the holy name. It's like that. It's a consciousness with which we do things. That will give. Prabhupada in fact writes in Srimad Bhagavatam, I think in 3rd canto or somewhere it comes. Prabhupada says devotional service can be done in the mode of ignorance, the mode of passion and the mode of goodness. On one hand, we all know that devotional service is transcendental to the 3 modes. But there Prabhupada is defining devotional service in the mode of goodness, devotional service in the mode of passion. Anyone remembers that? In 3rd canto or somewhere it is written. And devotional service in the mode of goodness. Where I think Prabhupada says devotional service in the mode of passion is like doing devotional service with a controlling mentality. Prabhupada writes. I can't remember that exact section. But
Lord Kapila.
Anyone who's ready? Lord Kapila. Somewhere around that section it comes. Devotional service done with an angry mood. Prabhu! Khichdi, Prabhu, Khichdi! Suppose you serve like this, or you take that and then. Many people do that, Prabhu, can I get some extra khichdi? What kind of service is that? That's not service. Even if you say, there is a way of telling, Prabhuji, khichdi is little bit less, Prabhu. So, do you mind, Prabhu, if you come a little bit late? I will just do that first serving. Prabhu, I really want to give you, but let me just finish and give. So, nobody is going to feel bad. But if you are putting rules, Prabhu, people are there in the queue, Prabhu. So many people have to be served, Prabhu. I've seen people talking like that. Many times I've seen. So many people are, Prabhu, people are standing in queue, Prabhu. Like that. Then that is not devotion. That's not coming out of spiritual ecstasies. And Lord is not going to be extremely pleased. Neither your spiritual master will be, oh, what a wonderful demonstration of rules and regulations and enforcement that my disciple is now, upholding. To hell with rules and regulations. Who says that? Lord is saying that. To hell with all the rules and regulations. Because I am Bhavagrahi. I don't want, you may be, as per the rules you may be right. Somebody may be pleased with you, but I am not pleased with you because in enforcing the rules you have offended my devotee at the end of the day. The Lord doesn't care. It doesn't mean we have to break the rules and regulations.
Sorry.
So can we help you? Yeah. Who are you looking for?
My bag.
Your bag. Okay. So
This one?
enjoy. So what are we saying? Yeah, so the Lord doesn't care about Tantra, Mantra, Yantra, Puja. At the end of the day, it's about consciousness.
And that can be for everything, right? If you are giving class or
Everything.
organizing program or
Everything. Everything. It is the mood only. Bhava Grihi. Lord is not project oriented.
But sometimes you become project oriented because so that means it's zero.
No. We can become project. We have to become project oriented with ourselves. With others, we have to be people oriented. Prabhupada, Keshav Prabhu also told in the class, full strictness with our own selves and full leniency when it comes to others. We do the other, exactly the opposite thing. We are very lenient with ourselves and very strict with others.
No, but
We have to be very strict with ourselves and very, very lenient with others.
I'm asking from the point of view that if you are executing a service, if you're doing a service, while doing that service, you become project oriented. That you want to do this, and so that way you're becoming project oriented to yourself. But that mode of service is not there. You're just doing it. Then it's not. What would be the benefits then in that situation? So,
for example, if I have to construct Vedic planetarium to fulfill Prabhupada's dreams, do I need a project plan or do I not need a project plan? Can I say I will not be project oriented? No, Prabhu. Please pray, Prabhu, that the TOEP manifests itself. By Gaur Nitai's mercy, we will just start. Which location, Prabhu? Anyway, start digging there. No. Then we have to learn the principles of civil engineering. We have to make a project plan. We have to do the resourcing and staffing for that particular project. We have to work out the costs of the project. We have to work out the budgets of the project. We have to manage the people to work within that budget. If somebody is, rascal fellow, you have to start work at 8:30. The fellow is coming at 10 o'clock and saying, Prabhu, sorry, Prabhu. And then you also saying, Hari Bol, Prabhu, no problem, Prabhu. Vaishnava अपराध नहीं होना चाहिए ना, Prabhu. कभी भी आओ. जब भी चाहिए साइड पे आना. जब भी प्रभु मंगल आरती गया तो सो गया था. अच्छा मंगल आरती, very good, Prabhu. Very good, Prabhu. तो आप तो इतना elevated, you are so elevated person. Let the project go to dogs. But Prabhu, please pray. I also come for Mangal Arati. If this is how it is going to happen, then project is gone for a toss. Now, then what happens to Prabhupada's dream? I'm just being a goody man with everyone. Right? I'm just being good man. But project has gone down the drain. Right? So that is no good, because then I'm not serving. There should be excellence in service to spiritual master. No doubt about that. But let us say the person has gone to Mangalarti and come late. Project orientation means that somehow I facilitate and motivate that person to come on time, not leaving the goal of the project in mind. So we have to be project oriented in that sense. But people oriented means not telling the person, Prabhu, what Mangalarti? You are taking nice salary, no? From Temple of Vedic Planetarium, what Mangalarti? That way also you can do. Your goal is to only, you can say, TOP ka tera baap banayega. Something like that. Actually, it's all possible, because our true natures will come. Paisa lene ka time, maja aata hai. When you take salary, you enjoy. When you come, then this is how we talk, no, usually. Right? But then we are now not people oriented. At the same time, another way of dealing with the same issue is, Prabhu, I understand Mangalarti is a glorious service, Prabhu. Look, I don't want you to, no, I would personally want you to go for Mangalarti. Is there a way of working out how we can balance both? Because Prabhu, look, the project has to get over by this particular time. Is there any way I can help you? Because look, or Prabhu, look, that devotee also is going for Mangalarti. He's able to come on time. Maybe there is something where he is adjusting some other schedule. Maybe Prabhu, I can ask him how he is doing that, or maybe I can introduce both of you. So you are trying to facilitate the solution. You are not trying to make that person feel like a cockroach, for his imperfections. Or somebody has not laid a brick properly in that. I am just using the TOAP as an example. I am not an authority. I am no authority to speak on these things. Because it's such a big project. It requires excellence to do. It requires immense hard work, immense detailed planning. It's not an easy project to do. Right? But the project has to also to be done properly. So we need the Kshatriya spirit also over there. But at the same time, we need the Brahminical principles also while dealing with people. Both are important. They have to be... So one has to use one's intelligence in dealing with these kind of issues. At the same time, if somebody is coming and let us say threatening, I'll destroy this whole thing. You people are, I'll remove or destroy this whole bricks that you have laid. And if he is posing a threat, okay, at that extreme end, then you have to catch him by the collar and you have to throw him out from there. Such a way that he will not dare to do it again. Prabhupada does not say that devotional service means no war. Bhagavad Gita was all about removing the unnecessary weeds out. Correct? So that also needs a different kind of Kshatriya spirit. If you really find that if somebody is having challenges but having an intention to do that, then you can facilitate. But if someone is having a destructive mentality, if someone is not interested, then tell them to take some other service. But if someone is coming with a destructive mentality, then that person has to be chastised very sternly. At that time, there is not no Vaishnava Aparad Prabhu. Theek hai Prabhu, if you want to take a hammer and you can put all the bricks down. Prabhu, there are some other buildings also we are building. You can even hit that also. That is nonsense. This is not humility. This is foolishness. Right? So therefore, I don't know whether I answered or not. I tried to give you several scenarios.
My question was...
Your question itself was different. I thought your question was on project orientation versus people orientation.
Being project oriented, but the mood, how do you bring the mood of that you are doing it for the pleasure of Krishna? That was my question.
This is how you bring the mood.
How do you bring the mood? I still did not...
First, we have to have the mood of genuinely doing it for the pleasure of Krishna. If we do not have that mood, then how can we bring in the mood to them? So that is step number one. We have to have the mood of being able to do it for Krishna. If we have that mood, then Krishna will guide us on how to guide others into that mood. Correct. Our frictions come because of personal agenda, largely. It hardly comes because of ahaituki apradhyeta. Unmotivated, unalloyed devotional service ke wajah se Prabhu, I have got angry. So you have to really understand. Am I unalloyed? Am I so unalloyed and unmotivated in my devotional service? Therefore I got angry at somebody. Usually the answer is no. There can be cases like that. Usually the answer is a big no. Right? Usually there can be clashes because the way something is done is not according to the way that I think it should be done. There could be clashes because of that. It is quite possible that the way I think should be done may be the right way of doing it also. Right? But the way it should be addressed, even though my way of doing things is right, and it may be right, the way it should be addressed is what the Lord is looking at. That is where the Lord is not project oriented. He is looking at how at every instance, how we are addressing a particular issue is what he is looking at. That is where our maturity in dealing with situations comes in picture. Does it make sense? How do I address an issue? Where Rajava Prabhu told a nice point. No personal agenda. Which is what Ambarish Maharaj did. What is that verse? Padanu Sarpane. The next was Kamam cha dasya natu kama kamaya. He had no personal desire for in anything. He had no personal desire. Durvasa Muni, he plucked his hair and created a demon to finish off Ambarish Maharaj. And then Durvasa Muni, Sudarshan Chakra is running behind him. He is running to Brahma, Shiva. He doesn't get anything. Finally, he goes to Vishnu. Vishnu says, I can't do anything. Sorry. Go back to Ambarish Maharaj. And then he comes all the way to Ambarish Maharaj. Trust me, if I were Ambarish Maharaj, I would have told, "Kya bhai, aa gaya wapas?" I would have told him, "Oh man, you came back to me ultimately. I told you not to mess with me. Told you. Anyway, no problem. I'll pardon you. No problem." No! Durvasa Muni, Ambarish Maharaj did not have that consciousness. He was waiting in that place, and when Durvasa Muni came, he falls down at the feet of Durvasa Muni. And then he has not eaten anything. Because Durvasa Muni left without eating at the end of the day. No? So he has also not eaten anything. Though it was not his fault. So he is not thinking, I am right, Durvasa Muni is wrong. Lord himself has said Durvasa Muni is wrong. But still Ambarish Maharaj is not thinking in terms of right and wrong. That is the point we are trying to drive. Devotional service is not about being right and wrong. Devotional service is how am I dealing lovingly, how am I relating with devotees. It's all about that. I am not saying, because I am saying that I am dealing lovingly with everything. But I know, at least we all know that yes, whatever the reason our lamentations are, it has got nothing spiritual. It has all something to do with me and my mind at the end of the day.
How do you know the difference between no personal agenda versus...
This course will not end.
Today is light.
Today is light one. I will never say that statement again. Okay, fine.
Is it okay?
Okay, now anyway you asked. But next class onwards I am going to... Seriously?
No, I'll ask it.
No, it's okay.
I'll ask it.
Okay, ask it.
That's actually...
See, these kind of topics, it's good to churn these kind of topics. At the end of the day, when we walk out, again, Krishna consciousness is not about being project oriented. We can walk away with certificates. So these kind of churning is actually important, because at the end of the day, why are we doing this course? We will never get this kind of a time after we go out of this room to discuss these issues, correct? So that is why I am encouraging this, because I know we all have busy lives. Once we go out of this door, again we are going to only meet next Saturday, right? We don't have this time to churn these topics like that. So I am happy churning. So don't think that no, there's something. So, but still we have to be project oriented. You have to complete the course on time. So we'll have some of these discussions, and then we'll stagger these discussions. So, but your question is important. I want to discuss that topic, okay? Because I think everyone will benefit, including myself. Because as I speak, trust me, it's not that I am speaking because I am perfect or something. I am also having the same problems. It is just that I am sitting here, so I am doing the service of answering those questions. Touching the deity. Only a person who is initiated as a Vaishnava and is executing devotional service in Krishna consciousness has the right to touch the body of a deity. So to be touching the body of a deity, one must be initiated in the proper initiation. One must be Brahmana initiated.
So, from this especially on Jula Yatra and Snan Yatra, one of the I have seen touching the deity.
Huh? Sorry, there's some cross conversation, so I can't hear. We'll first let Arvind Dhruva finish. Okay.
On Jula Yatra and on Snan Yatra, a lot of devotees I have seen touching the deities. And I don't know whether I should be touching or I shouldn't be touching. Because that's when you get to personally give the Jula to the Lords. Yeah.
Okay. So when Lord Jagannath is coming out personally and he is allowing you to hug, if you say, I am not pure enough, therefore I will not hug. There are two reasons for that. One is we are genuinely feeling like that, and therefore we are always standing in the corner like Haridas Thakur. Or we are not doing it and telling everyone about it so that we get pride over our humility. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So that we can tell everyone, I will not touch because Like that. Are Prabhu, kya humble ho yaar? There are two reasons. Again, ask the mind. Mind, what do you want out of this? What do you want? Are you genuinely feeling unqualified and therefore you are not touching? Or you are not touching so that you get an opportunity to tell everyone how you did not touch despite the fact that you could have touched and how you know the rules of the Shastras and therefore can get respect from everyone for not having touched the Lord. So that is again the mind only. Mind can tell. Mind will drag us towards a desire for respect. It will drag us. Come. No, more respect. Or give me more. No, like Anyor, Govardhan is saying like that. For us it is give me more of that prestige. Come on guys, everyone. Give me more. No. So that mind is the one. Ask the question. Sorry, I'm again and again focusing on that. But that is exactly because I'm doing that day in and day out now. No, so many realizations are coming. That's why I concluded by saying I am a rascal. I concluded that. And I have to do something about it now. We have to do something about it. Did I answer you, Prabhu?
I don't know.
You don't know. Okay. But did you understand the methodology of getting the answer?
Yeah, but then
Yes.
what is happening with me is that I'm confused whether I should be touching or I shouldn't be. And then sometimes I touch.
Okay.
Sometimes I don't.
Now I'll give you a simple answer. If the Lord is coming out and saying touch me, what is our problem? Why are we more pure than the Lord's mercy?
Is initiation a criteria?
Huh?
You said
In the Jhulan Yatra, when temple is allowing everyone to push, then why this question is coming in our mind? The authorities don't know the rules.
Prabhu's question is more like when doing the Jhulan, then people touch the Lord's feet and then take. Is that required? Or
Is that required? Did he ask? No. He didn't ask that question. Is it okay? He asked. Is it required? It's up to you. If you want to touch, you touch. Is it okay? Yes. That is why it is being brought out to touch. Isn't it? Obviously, what we cannot do, for example, if we have been digging our nose in the courtyard outside and then you don't wash your hand and you touch, then again nobody is going to be with a ladder. Prabhu, of course, that Prabhu stands with Achaman. How much one spoon of Achaman, how it can wash the, whatever you have done. Correct, no? Does it make sense? Then if you are touching, then it is between you and the Lord. Then obviously, if you are taking it so casually, the date is. But okay, if you are reasonably suchi, then the Lord is allowing you actually to touch. Of course, if, for example, if the lady knows that she is going through a monthly, she is off the altar, then usually the ladies don't do if they know the Shastras. If unknowingly one has done out of bhakti, what do you think the Lord will do? Punish? No. Even if the lady is going through the monthly cycle, but overwhelmed with bhakti bhav, she has touched the Lord is not going to say, oh, hang on, rule number 24. No, he is bhavagrahi again. So that is why Nectar of Devotion, the whole idea of Nectar of Devotion is to give rules and regulations and tell that highest rule and regulation is what? Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. That's the highest rule beyond everything else. Sorry, you had a question?
No, I just want to add, for example, if the Lord is a person, you are swinging him. How would someone feel like you're allowing someone to swing you, but then someone is coming and touching all that? Depends, so do we want to...
How will someone feel what?
So for example, the Lord is swinging with his girlfriend, that is, he's enjoying, and we are supposed to swing, but we're going and now taking extra privilege to just grab his feet as well. It depends.
Grab his feet, obviously, if you grab the Lord's feet and not allow him to swing, but if you are touching and doing like that, I don't think it will...
It depends.
Yeah. The Acharyas have said is okay.
It is okay.
What can I say?
Just the mood of Swami. So what this means is, what Prabhu's question was, if it is the mood of mercy, so Lord is coming out. So this is been the trend. When Lord comes out, means it is to give the mercy.
Yeah.
That in that mood, if a devotee anyone touches, it's okay. Here it is worshipful mood. Not anybody can go on.
Touching cannot be wrong at all. Otherwise, Ambarish Maharaj, that verse would not have been there. No? What is that? Sparshe Anga Sangamam. It wouldn't have been there.
But again, that's what Arvind Prabhu's question is. You should have minimum qualification of touches, something like that.
No. Where it is written?
I did. I was asking.
He is saying you said. You are saying you didn't. You all better be clear.
I asked, is initiation a criteria to touch?
Okay. Is initiation a criteria to touch? No. When the Lord is publicly coming out, there is no criteria to touch. In the Jagannath Rath Yatra, all of us can go and touch the Lord. Many people come, when the Lord is, especially when Bhaktivedanta Prabhu and the team is bringing down, you were also there, this year, bringing down the Lord. So many people went and touched. Because the Lord wants to give mercy, then why am I bringing my own speculation into that?
But you said the initiation is required for doing puja inside.
Definitely. Yes. But that one day Lord gives mercy. That day is mercy. The moment mercy comes, then rules and regulations fly outside the window. Does it make sense? That is mercy.
But during Stanayatra, the main people who handle that part and the Lord comes out and goes upstairs, the people carrying them, the Brahmana and qualified people, they actually stop people. Please don't do it.
Correct.
People still do it. So that means they're thinking it should not be done, but
Correct.
people still do it.
Correct. So that is not so. If we are disobeying the instructions of senior devotees and thinking that I will get mercy of the Lord, even if you touch the feet of the Lord, you are not going to get anything out of that. Yes, that is a different question you are asking. Yes, true, isn't it?
In Mayapur, my Prabhu was doing massaging the deities, Panchatattva's pattern, that lotus pattern, and he was touching. So one devotee he allowed, and after polishing, everything was done, bathing and everything. So after that devotee, my Prabhu was going to touch the lotus feet, and that devotee said, after bathing the deity, give the bathing, you should not touch. Before bathing, you can touch, but after the bathing ceremony is finished, you can't.
So then we have to know the rules, act accordingly. Mercy will come through only when the Lord is pleased with our service. Even if we have followed all the tantra, mantra, vidhi perfectly, if the Lord is not pleased with our service, we are not going to get it. Na yad utpadiyed yadi ratim rama eva kevalam. So excellence of elements by offending Vaishnavas is not going to get us anywhere. One thing it will give us, pride. It will give us. When pride comes, then we will further fault finding will come about others, how others are imperfect, how I am perfect. But that is not the goal of Bhakti. A man born in any family is not barred, but he must be cleansed. So Prabhupada writes, touching the deity. A man born in any family is not barred, but he must be cleansed. That cleansing process must be adopted. That is the position. Only one who is properly initiated, who is properly following the rules and regulations can enter and touch the deity. Not all. And one who touches the body of the deity, following such regulative principles, is immediately delivered from the contamination of material sins, and all of his desires become fulfilled without delay. Okay. Next one is seeing the deity. What is that verse of seeing the deity? Mukunda Lingalaya Darshane Drisho. You had a question?
If we are paying obeisance to Maharajas, can we touch their feet?
No. Seeing the deity. Any person who goes to Vrindavan and sees the deity of Govinda Dev is free from the courthouse of Yamaraj and is allowed to enter into the highest planetary systems in which reside the demigods. So, you can read up on your own these sections. They don't require too much of elaborate explanation. But seeing the deities has got various benefits that is mentioned here. It is mentioned that simply by visiting the deity of Govinda in Vrindavan, one becomes highly elevated in spiritual life. So just by taking darshan of the deities. Observing Aarti and celebrations of the Lord. If someone sees the face of the Lord while Aarti is going on, he can be delivered of all sinful reactions coming from many, many thousands and millions of years past. He is even excused from the killing of a Brahmana or similar prohibited activities. As we have already explained, there are different ceremonies to be observed, such as the birthday of Krishna, the birthday of Lord Ramachandra, Jhulan Yatra, etc. The Lord is seated in a car. the car moves through different streets of the city so that people may take advantage of visiting the Lord. In such a ceremony, even if a Chandala simply out of curiosity sees the Lord on the cart, he becomes counted as one of the associates of Vishnu. Even a Chandala. If he sees out of curiosity, not even out of devotion, even if he sees out of curiosity, he becomes counted as one of the associates of Vishnu. So this is the power of observing Arati and observing the deities. So finally, there is a nice paragraph, I want to read that, on observing Arati and celebrations of the Lord. Prabhupada writes, in the Agni Puran, it is stated, any person who in gladness sees the worship of the deity in the temple will obtain the results of Kriya Yoga, which are described in the Pancharatra scripture. Kriya Yoga is a system of practice much like practical devotional service, but it is especially meant for the mystic yogis. For example, if you read this book, Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahamsa Yogananda, that's what I was reading. Remember I told you last Kartik I was reading this book. So they are all Kriya Yogis, under whom all these, many people are following that particular Kriya Yoga lineage. The Swami Vivekananda also had some affiliations with that Kriya Yoga group. In that sense, he is mentioned in that. Swami Vivekananda was mentioned in that book also by Paramahamsa Yogananda. Like that. So, but Paramahamsa Yogananda's lineage, that lineage is following Kriya Yoga. Let me put it that way. So, Kriya Yoga is a system of practice much like devotional service, but it is especially meant for mystic yogis. In other words, by this gradual process, the mystic yogis are eventually elevated to devotional service of the Lord. So, even these mystic yogis, when they observe Arati and celebrations of the Lord, they can also be elevated to personal devotional service of the Lord. So the next topic is called as chapter 10. So which is called as techniques of hearing and remembering. So that's a very important section, in Nectar of Devotion, because we are going to be talking about some very important principles, 3 important principles, namely hearing, expecting the mercy of the Lord, and remembrance and meditation. Actually there are four distinct points. We will discuss it in the next class. Probably we will also see if we we'll only discuss that in the next class, and then from there we will start discussing a little bit about the different types of rasas. Prabhupada ki